Hi Miss, I'm Anthony from Group A. Today I'm going to talk about the corporate tax. First of all, let's talk about the small medium enterprise. For limited liability partnership, there is less than 2.5 million capital contributions and less than 50 million annual sales. The chargeable income tax limits of 17% is increases from Rm 500,000 to Rm 600,000, as well as the 24% tax rate is increases from exceeding 500,000 ringgit to 600,000 ringgit. Second is about the small value asset. For SMEs and non-SMEs, the value of small asset is increases from 1,300 ringgit to 2,000 ringgit. For the non-SMEs, the special allowance claimable is increases from 30,000 ringgit to 20,000 ringgit. Lastly is the tax deduction limits on the secretary fees and tax filing fees is to be combined and allow up to Rm 50,000 ringgit.
The topic is about the tax incentive on corporate tax. First of all, the tax deductions on cost of listing in Bursa Malaysia is increases to Rm 1.5 million. The costs to be included are the fees to authorities, professional fees, underwriting, placements, and broker fees. Second is about the income tax exemptions is extended to CIBG register with the Company Commissions of Malaysia, provided that the CIBG is not operated for profit purposes. Second, the income and profit received and the real property acquired by CLBG are used for solely for the religious worships, advancements of religions. Thirdly is about the tax incentive on development of intellectual property. The qualifying intellectual property income derived from patents and copyrights is 100% exempted from the tax, and the period is up to 10 years. And the IP must be developed in Malaysia. Lastly is the customer package investment incentive, which is also called CPI incentive. The fortune companies and global unicorns or the companies in high technology, manufacturing, creative and new economic sector, the company must invest at least 5 million ringgit in Malaysia to be qualified. For the competitive enterprise in global export markets, the company must prove their ability to grow and export their product and services globally. If this company fulfill their condition, they will be given the CPI incentive, which is about the 1 million ringgit over 5 years. Okay. This is the tax incentive for tourists and art sector. The 50% income tax exemptions on statutory incomes of company that organizes arts and cultural activities, international sports, and recreational activities. Accelerated capital allowance on new locally buses purchased by licensed tour operators. The initial allowance is 20% and the annual allowance is 40%. 50% excise duty exemptions on new locally assembled vehicle purchased and used as tourism vehicles are licensed by the tour operators. Increase on tax deduction limit on expenses incurred by the companies to support local arts, cultural heritage activities approved by the Ministry of Tourism, Arts and Cultures from Rm 700,000 ringgit to Rm 1 million a year. Pioneer status and or the investments tax allowance be given a new investment for the integrated tourism and sports tourism projects and the international theme park.
Hi Miss, I'm Alice I'm the member of Group A. Today, I'm here to talk about the implication of personal tax in Budget 2020. In Budget 2020, for resident taxpayer, the income which exceeds 2 million ringgit, the tax rate will increase from 28% to 30%. For non-resident, the tax rate also increased from 28% to 30%. In Budget 2020, the government also provide the tax relief medical expense up to 6,000 ringgit, include the 500 ringgit for completely medical checkup for your immediate family members. For those parents who send their kids to the childcare center or kindergarten, the government also increased the individual tax relief from 1,000 ringgit to 2,000 ringgit. Moreover, they also provide the incentive for women return to work from career break, which is the expansion of tax exemptions for 4 years long. They also provide the initiative under Malaysia Work for women who have stopped working for 1 year or more. They separate the incentive into two groups, which is the employee 500 ringgit per month for 2 years, and for employer 300 ringgit per month for 2 years. The government also provide the private retirement scheme, which allow the pre-retirement early withdrawal, and then it will not be subject to the penalty. In 2020, the government proposed the tax incentive, which is the extension of the period of the income tax deductions on PTPTN loan amount paid by employers on behalf of employees. The personal income tax exemptions for the employees will be extended to a further period of 2 years, that is start from the 1st of January in 2020 until the 31st of December in 2021. The government also provide the income tax rebate for the departure levy imposed on outbound air passenger performing the Umrah and the pilgrimage to the holy place. The individual income tax rebate equivalent to the amount of levy paid to be given and can be claimed twice in a lifetime. They have two supporting documents to claim for the rebate, which is the Umrah visa and the confirmation letter on pilgrimage to the holy place. Other than that, the government also expand the eligibility for the social contributions to cover the self-employed individuals in 18 key sectors such as fishermen, farmers, sole proprietor, and partnership. They have another program which for spouse, which is the Aisuri program. The government will allocate 20 million ringgit in year 2020 to provide the social safety coverage the eligible participant under the SOPSO.
Hi, my name is Q Wei. I'm from Group 8. First, I want to talk about the real property gain tax. During the last year, our ex-finance minister Lim Guan Yin announced that the government will enhance the IGPT treatment by setting the market value on January 1st, 2013 as the property acquisition price for the properties that acquired prior the January 1st, 2013 compared to the previous base year of January 1st, 2000. This apply on the disposal of real properties that might start from 12 October 20. Next is about the stamp duty exemption. During this year, there will be a full stamp duty exemption to be given to the RTO, rent to own scheme. This apply on the institution or transfer for the first resident home, priced up to 500,000, applied when the transfer of the residential home from the financial institution to the buyer, and the transfer
of the residential home from housing developer to the financial institution. Next is the stamp duty on the foreign currency loan agreement. The maximum amount of the stamp duty on foreign currency loan agreement will be increased from the 500 to the 2,000 ringgit. Before that, the stamp duty rate is only applied on rate of 0.5% of the loan amount and not exceeding the 500 ringgit. Next is the indirect tax policy improved in the budget of 2020. A different payment of facility for indirect tax will be introduced by the Royal Malaysian Customs Department to expedite the custom clearance process in the cross-border movement of goods. This will allow a wide range of business to benefit from the different payment of indirect tax and reduce the clearance time for the goods in the custom. And next is the merger of Special Commissioner of Income Tax (SCIT) and Custom Appeal Tribunal (CAT). The SCIT and CAT are proposed to be merged into a tax appeal tribunal. This is intended to improve the efficiency in the management of taxpayer appeals, so this can speed up the process of the tax appeals for the taxpayer. Next, the budget 2020 improved on the group relief of the facility user under the service tax. This is proposed to the qualifying service provided by a company to a third party who is not within the same group of company would be given a group relief on condition that the value of such service does not exceed of 5% of the total value of service within 12 months start effective at 1st January of 2020. Next, the government had introduced the new export duty rate on the crude palm oil. The effective reduction of the export duty on CPO is in the view of current sluggish global demand for the commodity. The table below shows the current export duty rate of crude palm oil. If the price per ton is under 2,250, will be always exempted from the export duty, no matter is the previous one or the current one. If in the range of 2,250 to 2,400, there is a reduce of rate 1.5% against the previous one. And starting from the range 2,401 until the 3,400 and above, the rate is all reduced 0.5% compared with the previous export duty rate.
Hello Miss, I'm from Wyatt and I'm from Group A. Now I talk about income tax. It has review of increase and balance of unpaid tax failure to remake tax due and payable within the stipulated time will be penalty 10% of the tax payable. Additionally, if the tax due and payable still not paid after 60 days, it will have further 5% penalty imposed. It is proposed that where any tax due and payable has not been paid by its due date, the unpaid amount will be increased by a single rate of 10%. The further 5% penalty will not be imposed. Now I will talk about the exemption and deduction of donation under income tax. The scope of tax deduction reported to be expanded to include cash endowment to a public university and cash wakaf to any appropriate religious authority or body established by the religious authority or a public university allowed by that religious authority to receive wakaf. The appropriate religious authority, body, or public university which is approved by Director General Inland Revenue will be exempted from income tax. Now I will talk about review on the increase in tax charge upon submission of amended tax return. The penalty rate will be imposed on the tax or additionally tax payable pursuant to an amended tax return submitted to the Inland Revenue Board within 6 months, the statutory filing deadline. The submission made within 60 days after the statutory filing deadline will be penalty 10%. If after 60 days but not later than 6 months, will be penalty 10% and further 5%. It is proposed that the penalty rate for an amended return submitted after 60 days period be at 10%. The further 5% penalty will not be imposed. Now I will talk about Labuan Business Activity Tax. The amendments to the Labuan Business Activity Tax introduced by the Finance Act 2018 with effect from 1st January 2019, which are abolishment of the election by Labuan entities to be taxed at 20,000, and if Labuan entities do not have a basic period for the year of assessment, the Director General of Inland Revenue has the right to instruct the basic period for the year of assessment and subsequent years of assessment. It is proposed that the effective date of above amendment to Labuan Business Activity Tax be effective from the year of assessment 2020 instead of 1st January 2019. Now I will talk about petroleum income tax, and it is also known as PITA. Malaysia has signed the Multilateral Convention, which is MLI, to implement tax treaty-related measures to prevent base erosion and profit shifting, which is BEPS. The MLI will enable treaty-related measuring arising from the BEPS project to be simultaneously incorporated into the existing Malaysia tax treaty. Amendments are proposed to include provision into the PITA to ensure that changes made by the MLI to existing Malaysian tax treaties will prevail over Malaysia domestic law and facilitate the ratification of the MLI under the PITA.